Hey everybody, welcome to Joy of Posting. I'm your host, Rachel Jane Andelman. Hello everyone in the chat. If you are in the chat, feel free to, I almost said honk one out, do a shout out. Honk one out is a different activity. Hello Pfeiffer, hello Alien Monkey, hello Insult, hello Tina Talon. Awesome, honk it out. Yes, that's what I mean. I mean, right? Honk in all caps. Pfeiffer gets it. Pfeiffer's on the ball. This is Joy of Posting. This is the last show of the night on our channel. If you've been watching the channel, you'll have seen a man create a song in 2 hours or less, or in this case, I think a little bit more, through the magic of Ableton. You watched a man create a webcomic through, an illustrative program. You've watched someone else, an experienced 3D modeler, do their work, and now you're about to see me. I'm not a proud Luddite, but I am a Luddite. I just kind of hold on to every technological advance by the skin of my teeth, going, do we have to do this different now? And so somewhat unrealistically, I've been given a Twitch show of my own, in which case I will do what I am good at, which is writing jokes onto a Word document that I'll then post onto Twitter. And as I do that, I am going to explain why I chose the words I did in their order. I do not have 2 screens. I keep telling myself and others that I'm going to get 2 screens. Right now, I will be monitoring the chat on my phone. I have covered up my own facade on the phone because I can't possibly watch myself while I do this. I've covered my phone up with a bit of paper towel so that I don't have to watch myself sink or swim. And I've just kind of rested it. Unfortunately, there's too much around the desktop for the phone to comfortably sit. So I'm going to kind of fiddle and fuddle here and then eventually get it standing. But now I believe I have created, a real, thinking of the Rescue Rangers and how the Rescue Rangers had that very technically savvy, MacGyver-esque female chipmunk. And I feel like whatever I just did is something that she would have done. I basically have the skills of a smart chipmunk. I'm going to say your names in the chat and welcome you individually if you've honked off. Thank you, Kit, for honking off. Has that always been your in tour, or I've never noticed because I'm habitually late, or is that new? In my introduction, or in tour, which I love, it sounds very French, has recently been updated to something very classical. It used to be 80s because the show used to be a different show, but the intro is new. Tina, hello, thank you for honking it out. Sarah and Alien Monkey, who I assume is Eric, thank you for honking it out. Lo-Fi Hacking, Gadget, which is, I believe, Gadget's French name, again, very classy, is proud. I hope she is, whether or not I assume she's dead, if her lifespan is that of a normal chipmunk, and those cartoons were in the 80s. So I hope that she is smiling down on me from chipmunk heaven, where all the chipmunks go. All chipmunks go to heaven. I assume most small mammals go to heaven, because what have they done wrong? Pfeiffer says tonight on PBS Masterpiece Theater. I know. I don't know if I feel like Bob Ross was more of like a hippie than like a classical guy. He's like a guy you'd find like in the woods, smoking a joint, talking to his squirrel friend, drawing this quick dry paint revolutionary technique that would make him and his family millions, but otherwise like a real hippie type. Alien Monkey says, wasn't Bob Ross in the military? He was, but then I think he dropped out to become the medium mogul, famously private medium mogul, that's how you say it, that we all know and love and can't stop talking about. I'm looking at my mug. My mug had writing on it, but it has basically deteriorated and through the process of thousands of turns in the dishwasher. So now I can no longer read it or make heads or tails of it. So that's just life, folks. Naggle. And Lucky says he was a master sergeant in the Air Force. Now that is a lifestyle change. He hated it, but a lot of his paintings were based on things he saw while stationed in Alaska. I assume that if he hadn't hated it, he would have just stayed doing it. I assume that would have been what he would do, not to put words in his life. Yes, everyone. Bob Ross is, I think, the perfect Twitch performer. Better than PewDiePie. Better than whoever knew all of those words that are just a series of consonants that are all Twitch game streamers, all racist. You think he's I think he rises above them all. We really perfected television and its sort of descendants in around 1993, and we're just reiterating the process over and over, as I am planning on doing on this show. And Sarah says, not hard to be better than PewDiePie. One would think, one would hope, and one would assume. So today, for those who've never watched this show, I don't know if there are any noobs in the audience, but for those who have never laid eyes upon the show that you are now currently watching, by which I mean a previous episode. Obviously, this is all live and no one has seen this before, which is why it's so strangely compelling, despite it being off the top of my head, one would hope. The raison d'etre of this show is that I write jokes and I talk about why I'm writing the jokes I'm writing. Tina's a noob, hello! Character creation is like the Bob Ross of Twitch. Yes, if those who missed the subscriber-only Tuesday night show, you missed a very calming session where our showrunner and beloved figure, David Thomas, made some characters in WW219K. Kat, hello! Hello, everybody. Monster Factory sometimes gets a little stressful with the extreme sliders. You're like, no extreme sliders tonight. Only extreme, laid-back good times. This is my best friend and my worst enemy. I've heard the keyboard noises on this show are very calming. That was unintentional. It was not part of the pitch of the show, but I'm glad that everyone seems to like them. So I've been on Twitter since 2008. I've been writing jokes on it every day since then. So 12 years, the life of a sentient being. Oh, hello, Isabella. Hello, my friends. Oh, you make this so less lonely. Oh no. I'm getting texts that text made my phone fall down. But I'm getting texts that I mixed my two friends up. That one is not the one that I referred to them, but the other. Hello, Peruli. It's time to watch ASMR joke writing for Twitter. Hello. That's exactly what we're doing. So I love writing jokes on Twitter. Don't text me during my show because my phone is very precarious against my screen, and it will just tip over from the buzz. So it's all of this is held together by not even Scotch tape. Scotch tape is too fine a quality of tape to hold this show together. We're hoping for some technological advances to the show and possibly other shows in the new year. We're going to have a meeting about how to make the shows all look like they're from even further in the future, as opposed to now. I feel like my particular show would be most comfortable in a 1996 context. So please don't cause my phone to fall. Thank you. And I love you all very much. Sometimes we all tip over from the buzz sometimes, Tina. It's part of being alive. So tonight we're going to write some jokes. As I'm wont to do, I write jokes every single day. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Often most of the time, I would say I'm not sure which one is which, by which I mean I don't know which ones will resonate with an audience. That is generally the metric I use to determine whether a joke is good, because of the way that I work, that is on Twitter. So we're going to write some jokes today. We're going to post them all. We're going to post those jokes as I write them, and then we're going to see which ones people like and seeing if they like any of them. I've had a couple of shows. On Twitch where I wrote a bunch of jokes and nobody liked the jokes, and that's fine. And it's all failure is part of the process, or so I'm told while I'm sobbing over a garbage can. Again, thank you all for coming tonight. This is a very strange moment in time, historical moment. I can't imagine a stranger one, and not just because of my limited imagination. It is genuinely very strange. So tonight we're going to write some jokes. Pruli says, happy little accidents. I have a feeling there will be some bangers tonight. Thank you, Pruli, for your confidence in me. Let's see if it's warranted. So a lot of times with writing jokes, Alien Monkey says, look, dumpster fires are good. It's pretty cold outside. That's true. It is cold outside. I don't like it because it makes it hard to leave the house, which is already mission impossible. So there are a couple of different ways to approach joke writing that I found to be that is in a successful way. One way is to write jokes that are non-thematic. You're sort of going to brainstorm a bunch of like funny premises or seed ideas. In improv and a long form format, you often refer to ideas which aren't like enough to form a premise, but which are sort of an idea, sort of a concept, which you can sort of grow from, hence seed idea, and see if we can, string along any bangers from that. And the other way to do it is to be like, okay, tonight we're gonna write New Year's Eve jokes. So I may end up, bifurcating the show. I may do some New Year's Eve jokes. I may do some topical humor, and then I may do some like off the cuff humor, just a little bit of a zing zag zug toward the end, just to get hopefully by that time all the fires in the stove will be burning. Or all the dumpster fires will be burning, hopefully. Again, thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate that you're here. So let's write some jokes, guys. Let me crack my knuckles to signify and symbolize my beginning to do work. I like to play a little game with myself, seeing how far into the show I can last without doing any of the joke writing. And tonight I lasted until 9:15, which I think is a pretty good. It's a pretty good number. It's always fun to play a game of expectations with myself. So we're gonna do some jokes tonight. Let's do some New Year's Eve jokes, just because it's on everyone's mind, and people like to hear jokes about things that are on their mind. They're like, oh, that's a thought I was having, and then it's also a joke. It feels like you almost get to feel like there's someone doing this work for you, and you get to live in the cleverness, you get to live in the wit. That feels like a natural extension of yourself. So let's see if we can make people feel like they are experiencing some clever extensions of their own thoughts tonight, or not. You can't promise anything in this world. So New Year's Eve, the ball is dropping. That is something that happens. The ball is dropping. What else happens? You drink champagne from flutes. Not the musical ones, it's the skinny tall glasses. Other things you do on, right now we're just brainstorming. We're just coming up with some of the archetypal symbols of New Year's Eve. So balls dropping, drinking champagne from flutes. And Salt says, I heard a nice thing about the time between now and New Year's being a great time to do the opposite of resolutions. Anti-resolutions. Before the end of 2020. New Year's conflicts. Resolutions are always funny. People have different resolutions. My friend Will Martin wrote a very funny tweet today that was just like a bunch of things. He's like, look at how many of my resolutions from last year I managed to do. And everything crossed out was like a horrible thing that he couldn't possibly have seen coming, like become sad all the time, or like get fired because of a pandemic. And then all the uncrossed off things were like normal resolutions. So that was really good. Yeah, if you can find that tweet, that's a good one. Let's see some other ones. We're just brainstorming here. We're just living in the moment. You generally like to kiss at midnight, right? Kiss at midnight. You also have like the 2001 like novelty novelty glasses. I put on my 2021 novelty classes, sort of in anticipation of New Year's Eve. My left eye was instantly impaled. So far, so good in terms of omens. I won't have to see half of what is about to go to shit. So it's a cute little one about two COVID-shaped lenses. Yuck. It's a little grim, but dark humor plays, folks. Dark humor plays because everyone knows that dark humor is just an accurate depiction of reality because things are bad. Tina says, the greatest surprise of 2020 is that 2021 isn't coming. "2001 was like, nah." I get like news items on the top of my phone. It's very annoying. I need to uninstall that. 2021 is like the hot guy who you think is your prom date, but it's all been an elaborate prank to fool the least popular girl in school. Is it a Groundhog Day scenario or it just won't quit? 2021 is like the hot guy you think is your prom date, but it's all been an elaborate prank to elaborate ruse to humiliate the least popular girl in school. What's worse is that there is no moment of redemption because it is not a man, but a period of but a chronological unit. So 2021 is like the hot guy you think is going to take you to prom. But he never shows, as it's all been an elaborate ruse to humiliate the least popular girl in school. What's worse, there is no moment of redemption. Tina asks, how do you know how many characters? Basically, I'm just going to guess, and then if it's too long, once it's in the Twitter field, I'll just snip it. I tend to find long tweets are often they're both easier to write in some cases because you can kind of build them out more methodically. And I also tend to feel like people enjoy them often more because they tend to be more complex than shorter tweets. So in that case, I feel like the the um, the encouragement is toward longer tweets. I think people like them more and they do better. So I always try to like write right up to the edge of the character count, unless I really feel like the complexity is built into the brevity, if that makes sense. So 2021 is like the hot guy you think is going to take you to prom, but he never shows. It's all been an elaborate ruse to humiliate the least popular girl in school. What's worse is that there's third no third act moment of redemption because it's not because he's it's not because because 2021 is not a man, but rather a chronological unit. Since see. So here you see we basically are slightly too long, but it's only 5 characters, which is very easy to edit down to. 2021 is like the hot guy you think is going to take you to prom, but he never shows, as it's all been a ruse. See, you can just take out a word. Been a ruse to humiliate the least popular girl in school. What's worse is there's no third act moment of redemption because 2021 isn't a man, isn't a guy, isn't a man, isn't a guy, isn't a person, but rather a chronological unit. An amoral and a morally vacuous chronological unit. Yeah, maybe 2021 will see you. The beautiful girl that never knew you were, even though you were obviously a Hollywood actress. Let's see. Cool. Let's do some more. Kiss at Midnight. I hope everyone can see my text on if you're watching it on a phone or on a television. I'm not familiar with your particular hardware. That is not information that Twitter divulges to your host. So I don't know if you can see everything, if this is a pleasant experience, if you're doing this out of pity or out of desperation. But in any case, I hope you're enjoying it. Everything's good, thank God. My favorite part of New Year's Eve is drinking from the champagne flute, accidentally choking on the engagement ring that had been placed there, then becoming a ghost that watches my ex-fiance learn to love again. I don't actually know how they're called flutes. I think there's like I think that they must share some sort of cognate. Like flute is like a long, thin, cylindrical, hollow. They must be related. It would be very strange if they were false cognates. But I'll look that up at some point, or I won't because I'll forget it. My favorite part of New Year's Eve is drinking from the champagne flute. At 12, at midnight, accidentally choking on the engagement ring that had been placed there, then becoming a ghost, and watching my ex-fiance learn to love again. I think that's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun little story. That's a story joke. Better than a champagne oboe. Yeah, and I don't know enough about alcohol or drinks to understand why different flasks or bowl, like sometimes you have a bowl and sometimes you have like a martini glass. I don't know like what that has to do with like certain types of alcohol have to be like aired more than others, but in any case, you drink champagne from flutes. That's the extent of my limited knowledge. This is really if you learn nothing from my show, feel free to learn that you don't need to know that much to write jokes. You just need to know at least as much as what everyone knows. They often use coupes for champagne in Europe. That's so European of them. Musical instruments plus alcohol seems to be better than footwear plus alcohol. I'm gonna drink a shoe full of brandy. My friend Scott knows a lot about alcohol, and he's often tried to teach me, but I'm a terrible learner. I don't learn things. Other things we can pull from here. Yeah, they always have like New Year's Eve ball drops, New York City. A beer jump does sound better than a beer boot. Oh man, to be in that situation, what are you gonna do? You gotta drink. You gotta drink from what you have, folks. You can't not drink on New Year's. New resolutions. My New Year's resolutions are all about refraining from illegal and violent action. Also, to read more books. Also, to read more. Abolish the Senate being mid-leap at the stroke of midlife by jumping off a chair. What happened? Let's see. Hate it when the beast fails to kiss his date at midnight. The worst part, let's center it as a New Year's Eve joke, as opposed to Beauty and the Beast joke. Fated we leap. It was a leap year. Yeep year. Leap year. Those words are funny next to each other. The worst part of New Year's Eve is when your master fails to kiss his date at midnight, rendering you what's it called, like a living piece of furniture, rendering you a armoire. So kissing his date, he slouches off to Bethlehem, rendering you a talking candlestick for the rest of human history. Homunculus. I do love homunculi. They're like, it's like a funny concept. I'm like a guy, but I'm not really. I'm like a guy, but with like some asterisks involved. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like a full guy. I haven't any ball is dropping jokes. Really dropped the ball on that one. Is a little joke we like to tell during New Year's Eve. is a little joke us technicians like to tell each other on New Year's Eve. We are we're all being watched by the ghost of, who's the guy who always Clark, so our jokes can't get dirtier than that. Yeah, it's always about like using fun words or fun concepts. Like the most interesting part of any joke, I feel, should be the premise. And otherwise your goal with every word is to best convey your idea. So if your idea is a homunculus, you're like, it only works with a homunculus, like use the word homunculus. If you're just like, what's a funny word, I would say, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You're really trying to get your idea across, most of all. Unless your idea is like a guy who uses big words. But that's sort of, in a lot of cases, these are just sort of constructions of funny scenarios. We're not doing a lot of like funny narrator jokes. It's like can be a very gray line, but you're like, okay, the joke here is the situation, not necessarily the point of view. Somehow the addition of event is what got me to laughing out loud. I feel like there are puberty jokes selected here. You actually might be right, Tina. Let me see if I can write a puberty joke. You have to drop a big ball on New Year's Eve, so the next year doesn't proceed with a squeaky voice. Let me just divide that up. Which society will experience as tinnitus. So here you do make the puberty joke, but for me, I'm like, the puberty joke doesn't quite feel like we've completed the spin. It still feels like it needs a little bit more oomph. So the idea that everyone will experience tinnitus because the year is squeaky, to me, that's kind of is kind of more evocative or more damning. It's like you because it leads to another question, like, what does it mean for a year to have a squeaky voice? Why would a year squeak? It's like, oh, how would we would experience it as sort of this endless background noise. So that for me kind of fulfills the curiosity that the question mark in your head that you still have when you're reading the joke. Cool. So other New Year's Eve stuff. It's hard this year because when you think of New Year's Eve, you think of parties, and obviously no one responsible or / non-sociopathic is going to have a party this year. You'd really have to be a piece of shit to have like a big old party, in my opinion, which is objectively true. So it's hard to play with the iconic New Year's Eve atmosphere. You're like, okay, you're at a big party. Everyone's doing the countdown. You're going 10, 9, 8, 7. How packed will Times Square be this year? Is that still going on? I don't know. Hopefully, I don't want to say I hope they'll clear the streets. I don't want there to be like police violence or like a big police presence, especially because police are often the people not wearing masks, anecdotally, as I've seen and heard. So I don't know. 2020 was a year with tinnitus. Something really distracting was constantly happening. That's true. Also, what does it mean? The best way to have a New Year's Eve party in 2000 at the end of 2020 is to sit alone the best way to have a New Year's Eve party at the end of 2020 is to sit alone in the dark and whisper the numbers thrown as they appear as a consequence of your candle in the dark, except for a single candle, whispering numbers as they appear as shadows your flame throws, your flame casts, your small flame casts on the wall. This is at least the recommendation, the type of party recommended by the CDC. Yeah, I like this spooky vibe too. You can find humor in everything, and for me, what's funny about New Year's Eve this year is how unlike our idea of New Year's Eve it's going to be, and how it's just we're just going to be fucking by ourselves in our own houses, and it won't be like if it's joyful or like party like, it'll be like with a lot of imagination and effort. One comic landmark this reminds me of is this particular joke reminds me of is there's a very specific Kids in the Hall sketch where the kids are really excited to get to see their father for the weekend, and they keep intercutting between like this idyll of kids like being excited to see their father, and then the father, who the divorced dad, is like in this horrible dungeon like basement with a single light bulb like kind of going back and forth, swinging on its rope, and him just like sobbing, staring at photos of the mom, and it's like brutal. And that's kind of what this joke makes me think of. The best way to have a New Year's Eve party at the end of 2020 is alone in the dark, except for a single candle, whispering numbers as they appear as shadows, your small flame, your small and pitiful flame, let's make it smaller, casts, and make sure it's along the wall. It's prettier. This is at least the type of party. This is also the type of party recommended by the CDC. Awesome. So that is it. Abolish Senate asks, hey, we also get a very clear shadow of the road to and from the grocery store. It's true. My belly is full of avocado salsa from the gas station. I only knew they had avocado salsa a couple weeks ago when I went down to tie my shoe, and I noticed that they had avocado salsa on the bottom shelf of their snack aisle. Otherwise, I would never have tried avocado salsa, at least during this quarantine. Tina says it's when you stop casting a shadow that shirt really goes downhill. I don't know if that's a misspelling or you're trying to evade the censors, but in any case, I believe you. I agree with you very much, Tina. Ooh, good spook. Let's see if we can do a couple other ones. I feel like we're on kind of like a good roll with these New Year's Eve things. We're having fun. I feel like I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I should mention that if you're like, wow, I am watching this show because I heard about it, but God knows when I'll see it again because it's hard to remember when things are, or I'm interested in other shows on the channel, feel free. One way to keep abreast of that stuff is to follow. One way to support the channel is to subscribe. Another way to know about our schedule is to sign up for our newsletter, which I am sure our technician, wonderful tech, and executive producer Matt can post in the comments. He is the only person who can post a link in the comments. So if he hears this plea, if you had the link to it, you would. But he does because I just posted on my Facebook wall earlier. So if one were to go to my Facebook, you could take it from there. You're not an asshole, Matt. You are wonderful. There's a lot of links now. We have links to your newsletter. We have links to our merchandise shop. We have links to this. We have links to that. We have links to our YouTube. We're always just trying to make it as easy as possible. We know people have busy lives, and we are offering a variety of services all at once. So feel free to take advantage of any of the links that we do find and post. We're doing our best. We are categorically doing our best. Is it good enough? Only time and the consequences of time will tell. We're all doing great. Yeah. Also, we are partners with 3 Weeks Courses. If you'd like to not only enjoy our wonderful programming, but you'd also like to learn a new skill, you can go to our partner website. They are 3weeks.courses. There, you can purchase a 3-week course where you learn something short and discrete, so it's not too much of a time commitment. In 3 weeks, you'll learn something new. They have a bunch of new courses for January. If you do sign up for a class there, you can tell them that you heard about them from us, and then we make a couple of bucks based on the referral. So that's kind of a fun way to support us, and also a fun way to do something cool, like learn about the history of Black playwrights, or feminist satire, or how to perform self-care in uncertain times. They have a variety of really cool courses taught by experienced instructors. So if you haven't looked at their selection, you should do that as well. You did it! Woo! Look out, 2021. Yeah, we're gonna continue to not. We're gonna stick in there. I'm trying to think if there are any other New Year's Eve kind of like iconic ideas or concepts, sort of universal accepted truths about New Year's Eve that we can sort of subvert. 2021 has nothing on that. We're all counting on us. Don't do that. Counting on us. Oh boy. Well, my favorite part of New Year's Eve is fucking up my checks for 4 months. Is being able to say. Tron says, what about NYE's parties where you don't see the hosts the rest of the year? Oh yeah, yeah, these like kind of crazy parties. Yeah, I remember like every New Year's Eve party I've ever been to, I think except the one at Lauren Powers, which was like very cool and chill, has always been like kind of like a wall of bodies, and you're like, I'm trying to get, like my friend Ben Sandler, like he like throws a party and like everyone's there that he's probably ever met. Great part of living in the digital age, computers take care of updating the date on your payments for you. That's true. And the last time I had to use a check, I wanted to self-immolate. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I have I'm often a freelancer and I'm paid in every kind of way. It's actually really tragic. Right around the time that IB shut down, I had just gotten on direct deposit. That's a fun little story. My favorite part of New Year's Eve. I checked yourself. Tina, it sounds like you did want to wreck yourself when you checked yourself. My favorite part of New Year's Eve is knowing that things end. If only technically and in name. That's a little quick one. It's a little quickie. Oh yeah, the old man baby. I love New Year's Eve baby. Tina says, I hate when people are like, I'll send you a check and it takes 2 months. I'll never make fun of anybody for that because I am the worst person about getting money stuff finished. I still owe like several people my invoice. Does the iconic New Year's Eve baby have like a cigar or is it just a sash? Like what kind of bullshit were like those like early 20th century people on? I'm like, I need to check the exact category of bullshit. We have not talked about the coops yet. We can do a coop stoke. I don't know how much people think about or know about Anderson Cooper, but I could do it. No, like, where's the cartoon? I want the cartoon baby, not like real babies. Real babies are bullshit. We're getting closer. Yeah, none of these feel like iconic. These are all like, these all feel like Xerox copies of an idea that used to be kind of funny. I guess he always wears a top hat and a sash. To have a top hat. I feel like there was a bit on The Critic where his dad was a baby New Year and kept dressing in the sash. That was hilarious. You're completely right. I'm remembering it as you're talking about it, and he did do that. In the top hat. Eve is that baby New Year likely to baby New Year while positive with COVID will not experience symptoms, although we will have to burn the sash and top hat so as not to create a super spreader. A super spreader event. We will have to burn the sash and top hat and a giant wicker one. Statue. I don't think I've ever read the Velveteen Rabbit. It's like a stuffed animal that's like alive. Sounds like that's its deal. The good news about New Year's Eve is that the baby New Year, while positive with COVID, will not experience symptoms. In order to prevent a super spreader event, we will have to burn the sash and top hat in a Wicker Man scenario. The sash and top hat will have to be burned in a Wicker Man scenario. I don't know why the passive voice for me strikes me as funnier. That's just one of those things where occasionally I do have to play like the joke by ear. It's stuffed and the kid loves it, but after they burn it, a real rabbit starts hanging around. I feel like it's always strange with possessions and like material world. Like I think the Toy Story movies are kind of weird. Asking, telling kids that like these golems, their toys are like people, and I don't know. I have strange. I mean, it's all a wash in the end. Kids don't remember anything. They say that you only have to be when you're a parent, you only have to be good enough. Like you don't as long as you like don't like throw the child, in the garbage can, that it'll be fine. Like, or it'll be as fucked up as everybody else. So it's like a wash. But I still I kind of hate a lot of stuff that we assume everyone does to kids. Let's see. Senate says Velveteen Rabbit doesn't sound much recast and make it extremely creepy. Yeah, we were saying we did the baby one, and then we were also saying, I want to do an Auld Lang Syne. Auld Lang Syne, is that Latin? I didn't spell that right. Auld Lang Syne. I'm gonna read a little bit about it to make fun of it. Auld Lang Syne is a Scots language poem written by Robert Burns in 1788. So how did this happen? How did any of this happen? You're like, this guy's like, I'm gonna write the only New Year's Eve song that ever will exist, that everyone can agree is a New Year's Eve song. In traditional folk song. It is well known in many countries, especially the English-speaking world. Its traditional use being to bid farewell to the old year at the stroke of midnight. It is also sung at funerals, graduations, and as farewell to ending other occasions. The international scouting movement in many countries uses it to close jamborees and other functions. So to me, the joke is just, do you think Robert Burns writing Auld Lang Syne in 1788 was like, Robert Burns also repopularized Halloween with another of his poems. Wow, this guy was busy. I don't know why I thought the Halloween was. It's always like, I know Thanksgiving was some lady, and I didn't know who Halloween was. The Scots are everywhere. Oh, I'm sorry, Abolishasana. Did you try to post a link? Only Matt can do that. Only Matt has the link power. Burns, right? Do you think Robert Burns writing Auld Lang Syne in 1788 was like, I'm gonna drop a single so hot it will become so we'll be like, can't write a New Year's Eve song. That's Burns's Burns's territory. It's his that's call him Bobby's There's the state of Robert Burns, and you're no longer required to pay a royalty every year. Robert Burns, do you think Robert Burns writing Auld Lang Syne in 1788 was like, I'm going to drop a single so hot, everybody will be like, can't write a New Year's Eve song. That's Rob has that sewn up. I think he did think that people were confident back then. The odd. Is there an odd? There's an L there? What the fuck? Nonsense. This is where I become like very xenophobic at the very end of my show for no particular reason. Do you think Robert Burns writing Auld Lang Syne in 1788 was like, I'm gonna drop a single so hot, everybody else will be like, can't write a New Year's Eve song? Rob sewed that up. Rob sewed that up. I think he did think that. People were confident back then. Was it people were confident back then or people were confident in the past? I think people were confident back then. It's fine. Cool. You can see some of the other jokes we've already written tonight are already catching fire, as they say. Very happy with the performance of them so far. Let's do a couple more. I think we might be out of. I think I might be out unless somebody in the chat is like, "You haven't touched." Oh, I'm still supposed. I'm jumping around a lot. One person said we should do an Anderson Cooper joke. I'll do that, and then we can move on to some short, zingy non-New Year's Eve jokes. Anderson Cooper is like the Anderson Cooper is best understood as using that kind of highfalutin academic language, which makes your joke punch harder. Crush Anderson Cooper with a ball. We've earned this. Anderson Cooper is best understood as the wealthy patron of the new year. He not only announces the end of the year, he pays for the year to end. So count your blessings that due to the largesse of CNN host, this we will live to see 2020 retire 2000 in the wake 2021. They drink champagne out of coops in Europe. That's some fun. That's a good wordplay. let's see. Anderson Cooper is best understood as the wealthy patron of the new year. He not only announces the end of the year, he pays. He in fact pays for the year to end. New Year's Eve. He in fact pays for the end. He in fact pays for the year to end. So count your blessings that we will live to see 2021, thanks to the largest of a CNN host. To the largest of a CNN host and fitness enthusiast. You use every character you got. Yeah, I mean, if you have more stuff to say, why not go say it? Let's see, any other ones we have? I think that was it for New Year's. Now I might do some like little splashy ones. Again, if you're having fun, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me on a cold, bitter day before New Year's Eve. Shout out to the Vanderbilts. Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows it. I don't know if everyone is aware of how independently wealthy Anderson Cooper is. That his like mom, I think, was like the famous photographer, or that he was like shot his babe. He was a baby in like one of those like photos by that famous like weird photographer lady whose name I obviously haven't been able to remember during the time I've been speaking. But he's quite rich. Way before CNN stuff. Well, I always like once per show do the kaleidoscoping thing, and I'm always just like, once I'll remember to organize my tabs so I avoid that fate. But ultimately, this show is really as much about habit as it is about excellence. Best way to get ahead in show business: already be rich. I am way behind. He's got scratches. He's got so much scratch. He's got itch. Is a joke. It's like a very dad joke. It's like a joke. I would say it's a joke my dad would make, but I don't think my dad would make that joke. Now I'm just gonna toggle between the two tabs I don't mean to be returning to. Oh, thank you. Oh, I am at least rich in talent. You're gonna make me blush, and then I can't write jokes when I'm blushing. It's simply not done. Let's do some more. God, what's funny? Heart. Funny things about now. Other things that are funny. Oh, you found my emoji. My level 1, my tier 1 emoji that we all have access to. Unlike Matt's emoji, which is tier 3. Pay some extra money for a tier 3 subscription so you can use Matt's face as well as my own. Oh my gosh. Oh, the chat's full of little me's. This is a real big John Malkovich situation, let me tell you that. That movie is fun. New Year's Eve, New Year, new me. Y'all found it. Rachel, you are way more popular than me. The people wanted your face, not mine. I don't know, Matt. I think you're pretty popular. One thing I miss about going outside. MTV's Your Face, Not Mine. One thing I miss during the pandemic is executing a perfect bowling strike. Is bowling a strike playing a strike, good. And then playing baseball and striking out, bad. Then sitting in my car, smoking a cigarette, contemplating the complexities. I'm being asked, is Left Night on tomorrow? It is not. A Left Night, and I just got a producer chat. Left Night is our Marxist pop culture show. They are taking a break until the new year, but feel free to see them back in action, Zach and Kendra, in the new year, a week from tomorrow, to watch our Marxist pop culture show every Thursday, starting again a week from tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted by Dan Levy. One thing I missed during the pandemic is bowling a strike, good, and then playing baseball and striking out, bad. Then sitting in my car smoking a cigarette, contemplating the complexity of language. I do like this idea that someone plays a baseball game right after going bowling, which I assume has happened, but would be quite the convoluted, one assumes, schedule. Oh, a worker strike would have been good. I guess for me, it's sort of like 1, 2, 3, bowling, 1, baseball, 2, contemplating, 3. But we could have made that longer. There could have been a variation where we made that joke more extended. It's funny. It's like I see my phone and there's like the producer chat and there's like a little 7 and it's on a red spherical background and I'm like, oh, I wonder what 7 messages I've missed during the length of the show. But I will have discipline and check it when the show is over. Oh, they're talking about Odd Lang Syne. Old Slam Sign is our Quarantine Action Wrestling, a New Year's Eve show. It's tomorrow night, starting at 8 and ending who knows when. It has quite a lot of simulated action to broadcast, but I'm excited for it. If you like wrestling, if you like gaming, if you like fun and excitement, feel free to come back tomorrow at 8 p.m. We're going to usher in the new year in style and fighting and a little bit of bloodshed, because the fighters often will fight until there's a little blood on their forehead. But they're video game characters, so it's fine. He's doing it on purpose now. It was going to start at 7. Guys! Now I'm being trolled by the producers in the chat. I said 8 in the newsletter, folks. If you got the newsletter, then I'm sorry. I lied to you. I apologize. I apologize, and I'm furious with myself. Last minute stuff, but we have a newsletter. We can't. Anyway, guys, have I ever told you how hard it is to schedule a Twitch stream with enough notice that you can accurately tell people in advance what you'll be airing and when? If you don't read the newsletter, you get an extra bonus hour. Well, now you guys are just being silly. I'm being scorched pretty hard right now. But we're gonna end the show not with me being owned, and not with me being savagely owned by the other producers, but with some jokes that I wrote that I'm not the butt of. I refuse to end the show being the butt of other people's jokes. Cat gets it. You're like when you tell people that a show is going to happen, and then people change what's true, and then you're just holding the bag. Anyway, it starts at 7, and so stop by at 7. We're gonna write a couple more jokes to close out the night. Oh, we have a new follower. Better follow them back, because that's how this works. Maybe 6:30. We're gonna get. I'm gonna pull my hair up. It's fine. What's funny is I'm not even an A-type personality at all. But somehow, in the context of our producer dynamic, I have to be. I'm the mean one. Anyway, one thing. Moratoriums. Eviction moratoriums. Is there anything funny there? Probably not. Other things that are happening. The vaccine rollout is going fine if you are the sloths from Zootopia. Otherwise, you are probably thinking it's very slow. But again, you can't emphasize this enough. If you are one of those sloths, the process has been an ideal speed. Just a bit of light humor in the slow times. The vaccine rollout is going fine if you're a sloth, if you're the sloths from Zootopia. Otherwise, you're probably thinking it's very slow, but again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you are one of those sloths, the process has been an ideal speed, just a bit of light humor in these slow times. Those Zootopia is like one of those like weird films where it's sort of like the different species are being played like a metaphor for race, but also like the metaphor doesn't work if you extend it out long enough, because it implies that certain animals are like definitely inclined to certain like violent behaviors, which are like, is that something you want to say about different races? And then you find out from Twitter, of course, that certain police departments, as part of their race training, actually make their officers watch Zootopia, which is like absurd, and something I'd rather have not known. But I guess what I'm really saying is we need to abolish the police, because this is too dumb. Like this reality is too stupid. Slow times, unprecedented times, uncertain times. Very excited to one day live during times that aren't always being being assaulted with various ominous modifiers. No compromise. An expansion pack. Guys, why can't it ever be like in these sexy times? In these like fucking they're so I just want to lick these times up. Just like once I'd like to live in sexy times. I have to get loot boxes for new adjectives. Guys, in these like minute times and these that times and these tiny times. Do you think these times are uncertain now? Wait until we hit the non-linear part of COVID. Be uncertain of the times is fun. A little swear. You don't have to. I don't think I've sworn tonight, at least in terms of my tweets. But I do like a nice, a well-placed fuck can really sell your idea. Let's do one more. I think I have time for one more before my robot form, the mecha in which 1,000 miniature versions of myself live and cohabitate until that's forcibly shut down for the night. So let's do one more. Still stealing the premise from Michael Trainer and his robot, his human mecha operated by a legion of squirrels concept, which you probably will be able to see tomorrow night if you watch Quarantine Action Wrestling, or at least he's there very frequently. Exactly. It is exactly like a PG-13 thing. I can use one fuck. Otherwise, it just goes. It's like I want to use one static sound. Yeah, one more. Called Netflix. This year has been all about the streaming sites. Netflix, Hulu. For me, this year has all been about the streaming sites. Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, Criterion, Max, Spax, Bearing, Straight Edge, Bearing, Max, Spax, Limb Farm, the Noive, the Nerve, pronounced Noive. Bearing straight to DVD. Hoopla is fun. That's Hoopla. Hoopla. And of course, for me this year has been all about the streaming sites: Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, Criterion, Max, Spax, Bloom Farm, the Noive, Hoopla, and of course, what's a good last joke? Quibi. And of course, YouTube, and of course, porn, Blockbuster, Newgrounds. These are real, guys. I need a fake one. And of course, Pornhub. Pornonical, where the number one streaming site for porn that involves bionicle figures. One fact about me is I almost always believe pornography is a funnier word than porn, because it's weirder. And of course, Pornonicle, the #1 streaming site for pornography involving Bionicle figures. For me, that's like almost real, but also like super fake. To me, that's like an ideal, and it's a little dirty. It's not that dirty. It's like an ideal punchline to the extent that we're going to find a good punchline. Sometimes you just can't find a great punchline. Like you're just like doing fake words. Pornonicle, Pornonicle, the #1 streaming site for pornography involving Bionicle figures. I think that's pretty good. Fuck Disney Plus. That's for babies. Beefs like would watch Ninjago, watch some porn. I do believe I watched the Ninja Lego movie, which is like very strange to think that that's something that happened. Like I spent my precious time on Earth before everything closed down watching the Lego Ninja movie. Like not even, it was fine. Usually, the easiest way to get your word count down is just to find the words that contract easily. For me, this year's been all about the streaming sites: Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, Criterion, MaxBax, Blim Farm, the Norv, pronounced Noive, and Hoopla, and of course, Pornonicle, the #1 streaming site for pornography involving Bionicle figures, not Disney Plus. I'm not a sheep. Seriously though, in 10 years, 90% of all content will be from Disney Plus, and we're all going to feel pretty silly about it. Guys, that's the last joke I have in my gun barrel. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Matt, who's as, if not more popular than me, teching my show. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who's been in the chat, who has very patiently and quietly watched while not chatting. That's absolutely your right and privilege. If you feel like you'd like to support what we're doing here, thank you, Pfeiffer. Thank you. And if you're not subscribed yet, feel free to consider subscribing. We have shows every day, all week long. I think up to 30 shows, or we're going to hit that real soon if we haven't already. We have new shows coming out in January, a new game show that we're really excited for, and a new sketch show we're really excited for. So these shows are going to be off the hook, and we also have other things in the broiler, in the lottery ball turner. So feel free to stop by, sign up for the newsletter, subscribe and follow, take a class at 3 Week Stock Courses, and otherwise have a wonderful night and wonderful New Year's Eve. I will not be there at the party because that's bad. Parties are bad. Don't go to a party. Stay at home and wait this out. Hopefully this will all be over within a year. Who knows? But that's the hope. And in any case, please stay safe, because we can't get through this if we don't stay safe. So I love you all, and keep your health and keep your love of comedy, because laughing is good. Thanks so much. My name's Rachel. This has been the Joy of Posting. I'll have a new episode next week at 9 p.m. EST, and otherwise, I love you and good night.